I'm your host, Capri. And in today's video, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to talk about what a lot of modern day men, and I'm specifically addressing the modern day men as young as 18, and from 18, as young as 18 to as old as around 40 years old. I'm referring specifically to you, and especially on behalf of my men, all of my modern day slash younger men who never know what it's like to be in a long term serious relationship with a woman, much less even take one out. I'm my same group of men who are so used to sending women DMs, meeting women online instead of in person. Although if you're as old as 40, a lot of you could at the same time relate to the times back when we didn't have social media, back when we didn't have dating apps at all. Instead, where you have to actually walk up to a female and get her number by having to write down her number on a piece of paper, or vice versa. You write down your number to give her on a piece of paper. And I sometimes miss those days. Whereas us guys, because I'm a guy that's in my early 40s who's 42 years old to be exact, I can remember it so well way back before we had cell phones. Even though at one while we did have cell phones, don't get me wrong, back in the 90s, the latter part of the 80s, early part of the 90s, all through the 90s to be exact, but they weren't nowhere near as updated or sophisticated as they are now. Instead, they were those heavier, much more heavier phones that we used to have to put in a briefcase to take everywhere we go. The same type of cell phones that we couldn't talk to like we can any time of the day, like we can practically right now anywhere we go, without having to be charged so much in airtime. Anyways, and I digress. What a lot of you modern day men who may be socially awkward, if you may be socially awkward slash introverted slash quiet slash shy guy who's never really approached women, what it may, even if you may be afraid of approaching women online, your age, expect first and foremost for her to have either one kid, but then again, it'll be even harder for you guys who don't have kids of your very own. If you wanted a woman without kids of your very own between the age bracket I mentioned earlier, because so many of them nowadays, whether they may be Black American, white American, Middle Eastern, and on and on. So many of them nowadays, in spite of what racial group or demographic, are having kids more and more by multiple men and having more kids than one. That's one thing, that's one of the main reasons why so many guys have to settle for being a stepdad, or taking on the role of not being a stepdad, at least taking on the role of filling an empty void that kid, or in most cases kids, real father or fathers didn't take on, and in some cases deliberately refuse to take on. Also, for all my modern day men between 18 to as old as 40 years old, in some cases even older than that, even 45 years old, for some of you who may not know what it's like to be in a relationship with a woman, even for some of you who may want to approach women, but just for the simple fact of how you may be looking forward to being intimate with one only. Must I remind you, most modern day women around that age bracket have high body counts, nor do they believe in being committed to one man. And not only that, but even if you may get lucky enough to get a woman's number, phone number, or in today's modern society, her social media handle, must I remind you, while you're in the process of texting her on whichever social media platform, don't be surprised if while she's sending you DMs and you're sending her DMs, she may have some other guy right there beside her, right, that she may be right in the bed with, and may be in the process of being intimate while you're going a fool, sending her all these DMs, all these direct messages and text messages, due to a simple fact. And I would not quit stressing of how so many modern day women cannot just have one man, and due to social media, how it's even more temptation is at an all-time high now, more than it's ever been, due to social media, due to dating apps. Also, if you may happen to arrange after texting a woman, sending a woman DMs on the social media app, or vice versa, her sending you DMs, you may arrange to meet up with her. She may have to text you the right address to meet up with her, to be it, so you could be intimate with her, because she may be the type that may not be looking for a long-term relationship. Instead, maybe you looking for a man who may know how to hit it right. If you catch my drift, you may happen to go by her address that she sent you, which may be her actual address, and go to her home, then have to fear for your life, for fear that it may be some other man lurking to unalive you, and in some cases her kids' daddies. Because these look good, and a lot of them are very sexy, have really nice bodies, but I've done nothing but trouble for the most part. So many modern day women. I also expect for, if you do happen to meet a woman, it may as a result of meeting her on a dating app, or even for you, very few guys who believe in approaching women for person, be expecting for her, as soon as you may either change text messages with her, or talk to her on the phone for the first time, be expecting for her to ask you to do her a favor out of the blue. For instance, it may come a case where you may be in the process of texting her while she's at work, and she may happen to go on her lunch break. All of a sudden, after talking to her literally for the first time over the phone, or having an actual conversation with her over the phone, or sending her text messages, she may ask you out of the blue, can you send her some money, what it may be, on behalf of either Apple Pay, Venmo, Cash App, to get her a bite to eat, only for you to do that, be a fool enough to do it, and her to end up blocking you as a result. Or not only that, after sending her the money, she may ask you for an amount of $30, and may say how she may want to get her some Subway, although Subway is not nearly that expensive for just one person, only to find out that she may be going on her lunch break while you're sending her the $30 you sent her. She may happen to use half of that $30 for herself, and then the rest of it for her quote-unquote at work boyfriend or husband, while you thinking she actually in love with you, after her sending so many thirst-trapping pictures over and over, and as a result of the two of you hitting it off on whichever dating app the two of you may have met on. Because once again, this is another example of how the average modern woman cannot be faithful to one man. And then even for you guys who may be as young as 24 years old, who may happen to be married to a woman who you may have met in high school, may have been your high school sweetheart, you ended up not only quote-unquote tying a knot with her, but having a kid, or in some instances kids by more than one kid by her. You best to believe, and if she happened to go to college and get a degree, become very successful as far as in her career, you best to believe that during the whole while she was in college, prior to marrying you and having kids by you, that she had at least, if not one lesbian relationship with another woman while they're in college. Because I would say a good 3 out of 5 women, modern day women, has had at least one lesbian relationship throughout their whole entire lifetime. Because there are some who are in relationships with men as I speak, but are undercover lesbians as well. May have, in some cases, may even have an at-work wife, so to speak, a girlfriend that may happen to be a straight-up butch lesbian, as some of the elderly people would call a bulldyker, who happens to work with her on her job, and who she may be seeing out of all those times that she may say that she may happen to have the work overtime, some extra overtime after work. Well, I hate to break it down to you fellas, for some of my married fellas, she may be working overtime, all right, and that overtime she dedicating to seeing the butch, the lesbian from her workplace, or some other guy that's her at work, quote unquote, at work husband or boyfriend, and while you falling for her, all of her games that she's playing, because there are women that may make up excuses that have live-in boyfriends, if not live-in boyfriends, husbands, who may have excuses saying that going out to the grocery store, may have an excuse saying how they may have forgotten a certain item they get from the grocery store, and you may be gullible and naive enough to fall for, only for them to go to the grocery store. All right, they go into the grocery store with that side dude that they've been seeing for quite some time, or in some cases that butch lesbian that they've been seeing quite some time. Anyways, this is all of the things I wanted to lace y'all when game on, free game at that, fellas, on what to expect on behalf of all my modern day men between the ages 18 to 40 years old that has always wondered what it's like to be in a relationship with modern day women. And not only that, but you also, I meant to say this as well, most modern day women are standoffish as well, because you could try to talk to one, you could be at the doctor's office and may see one sitting across from you who may happen to catch your eye, may be sexy as I don't know what to you, and the whole while you may be trying to hold a casual conversation with her to get to know her better. Chances are she may be having her earphones in her ears. You know, the earphones that a lot of these Apple iPhones come with the long cords, and the whole while, now she may respond back to you true enough, but she may say, give you back either one word, you know, maybe for the most part, give you back one word response, you know, maybe say no more than what you may ask her. And then not only that, but some may just be straight up mean. They may go out of their way as soon as you may go up to them and say hi to them, may tell you in a rude, the rudest, as rude as they can, they leave them alone to get away from them. Due to another reason is due to how so many of them are used to getting guys flooding their inboxes, on social media and dating apps, complimenting them over and over, random guys over and over, because some of them may have as many as 100 or more guys sending them compliments in their social media inbox all day, every day, especially if they may have a nice shape that they may like to show off, as a result of them thirst trapping guys, other guys who they may have interest in on social media. And how many of you guys can relate to this? You will be walking inside of a building and you will be nice enough to open the door for one after walking in front of one, just showing how much of a gentleman you are, only for her to not say a word back to you, like you're just supposed to open it for anyway by you being a man. That's another thing about so many modern women. They have so many of them modern day female mentalities is what female entitlement mentalities is what I'm trying to say. And I blame a big part of why social media, why modern day women are such a challenge nowadays, fellas, is due to social media, due to dating apps. Because if we could go back to the days where more of us could use landlines, wouldn't have social media at all, then maybe, just maybe, it would be much more easier to be able to hit it off with more modern day women. If we could go back to those days where we could be able to approach modern day women in person, get their phone numbers the old fashioned way by having them write down their phone numbers on a piece of paper, and vice versa, us being able to give them our numbers on a piece of paper, arranging to meet each other in person the old school way, instead of using apps such as FaceTime, such as Google Chats, Google Hangouts, because whether we know it or not, this is one reason why so many modern day women are so entitled, to the point where it's completely hard to approach any modern day women within that age bracket nowadays. And due to how social media has given them so much unlimited access and so many unlimited options, to not have to be faithful to just only one man. Anyways, you guys make sure, like always, you like the video, you comment on it, you share it, last but not least, you subscribe to the channel. Till next time, you guys have a good one.